All right, so I don't traditionally, I've never Josh casted at night before. This is a new thing. New thing indeed, but we're in the middle of what appears to be a pandemic. That's what they're calling it. Pandemic. Just found out that Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson has it. And that's unfortunate. And then my first thought was, oh, they got Tom Hanks. Those bastards. But 19 other comedians beat me to it online, so that's where it's at. I think my fear is that everyone just stops going out in public, and the whole point of stand-up is you kind of need an audience. And so I'm trying to figure out what's the best way, what can I do to ameliorate the panic in my life? Because it's also interesting that this is happening at a time in my life where I am, I'm finally realizing that, my first love is stand-up. And as soon as I embrace that, it feels like the universe is like, no. So I'm hoping that this somehow blows over. And we can get back to normal life. But in the meantime, I can only do what I can control. And so I'm going to do, I'm going to keep going. That's what I'm going to do. I am going, and my thought was, well, in absence of anything else, if what I really want to do is stand up, and it's a situation where there is simply no place to do it, then it really seems the last recourse is to keep doing the podcast, because the podcast is the closest I can get to, doing stand-up. And the advantage is that there's no one here to tell me I have no jokes. I'm a king in the car. So let's just jump in, shall we? Some of my thoughts. For Tom Hanks getting the virus, horrible. But here's my big thought that I want to share with you about this. The government is putting a lot more money and energy into the healthcare system, into finding a cure, into getting tested. There's also a big push to make sure that people who are sick can stay home but still, get paid or get some kind of compensation so they don't go broke. The government and everyone is stepping in to really help each other. And so far, of all of the Democrats out there, the one who has gotten the most done in terms of the Democratic and, dare I say, socialist agenda has been the coronavirus. Coronavirus did way more than Obama so far. I'm wondering, maybe coronavirus should run on the Democratic ticket. We get Ebola as a running mate, we'll be there. All right, first joke. I have no idea if you find that funny. If you find that funny, maybe, tweet at me going, yes, the first joke was funny. And in the delayed response, I will, there will be a delayed response, but I will feel that need that I guess I need to feel. All right, so we covered that. We covered the coronavirus. And the NBA canceled their entire season. Or I imagine they postponed their entire season. I'm sure they'll, once this blows over or once it's done, they'll restart. But like on the so let's stick with that. They canceled their entire season of the NBA canceled. We'll see if the others follow suit. I feel like hockey players would say, no, let's incorporate the virus. Let's make this, we're violent. Yes. We only want to play if we're infected with the virus. So that could be their thing. That might be fun. That might be totes fun. Totes me goats fun. Baseball might still be able to continue because no one's there anyway. Oh, that's mean, but kind of true. I don't know. There's so many season games where it seems like there's 5 people in the audience. Oh, there's one movie theater chain. I think was in England or Ireland. Their policy is everybody has to sit. Everybody has to sit one seat. There has to be a 1-seat cushion or a 1-seat barrier, so people can't sit right next to each other. There has to be 1 seat in between each person at the movie theater, which is great until you consider the fact that the virus can be spread by people coughing and sneezing, and it's droplets in the air. And I don't think the droplets are going to observe the 1-seat rule. I don't think the droplets are going to go, oh man, he's 2 seats away. Well, so much for me. That's not how droplets work. But it's a fun try. I like it. I like where that's going. But this canceling stuff. Is it wrong that there's a part of me that wants to just, that maybe if we took the opposite route, if we just let it go and more people got sick, we would get over it faster? Yes, that is wrong of me to say that because I'm not taking into account the people who have a compromised immune system and the elderly. They're not going to do well. So yes, I have to be sensitive to them, and I have to think of the greater good and be a bigger person and not be a selfish person who just, wants to make sure there's always an audience. I have to think about you. I can't just be thinking about me. I have to rise above it. No, I don't. I don't want to rise above it. Whoever said I had to rise above it? Well, then the Jewish guilt is clicking in. You better rise above it. You better rise above it. I'm also getting sick of talking about it. I think everyone's getting sick of hearing of it. So I don't want this whole 20-minute set that I'm doing in front of nobody to just be about the virus. We've got to change it up a little bit. So what I really want to talk about is video games. Here's the thing about Mario Brothers. The more I sit down and I really study this game, not actually play it, but study everything that's going on with it, the more I love this game. Mario is the only action hero who kind of looks like me. Finally, after 100 years of media, film, television, and the classic leading man, finally, they put the character actor in the leading man role. And he can do everything that Schwarzenegger can do. Granted, it's a lot easier for him because all he has to fight are turtles and a slow-moving bullet. And then I'm not entirely sure how the bullet can even project itself. It seems like there's not enough thrust to keep the thing in the air. But dadgummit if it's not a hero who I can relate to. The other one I can really relate to is King Koopa. Or Bowser, King of the Koopas. The central villain of the Mario franchise. Because there must be so much frustration that this giant turtle dragon creature has to go through, where he's sitting there and his aides, and he's saying to his aides, "You mean he killed all of them? All of them? Everyone. The entire army, he killed everybody. Everybody. Yeah, how? He stepped on them. He stepped on them. I mean, we sent turtles who were trained, right? Yeah, that doesn't even make sense that he stepped on them. The turtle has a protective shell. It's the one creature who should survive being stepped on. We can't explain it. He stepped on them, and then he used the dead turtle as a weapon. What the... I mean, what kind of... I mean, we're dealing with some kind of highly trained soldier, right? I think he's a plumber. What? You're kidding. This is insane. Well, I mean, we got to... All right, then we have no choice. We got to shoot him with a giant bullet. Yeah, about that. What? Well, we got the giant bullet. It is a giant bullet, but there's some speed problems. What do you mean speed problems? I mean, we can't... It's pretty easy to dodge. All right. Well, I mean, I'm just... I don't get it. I mean, all we did was, we just took one hostage. How is this... I mean, can't he... At the very least, I was expecting to negotiate with a team or something. How close is he? He's getting closer. He's got no backup. Well, a brother. A brother. A slightly thinner brother. All right. You know what? We're going to have to surrender. That's what we're going to have to do. We're just going to have to surrender. That's it. All right, so that's my Mario bit. There you go. If you found that funny, tweet at NerdyVirgin or Instagram at NerdyVirgin and said, ha, laughing. But if you don't find it funny, there's no need to lie to me. I want an honest read. All right, we covered the Mario bit. Good. I'm feeling good about that bit. Feeling good about that. What else is happening? What else? Driving by a liquor store. Riverton Liquor. Riverton. Is that a person or a place? Riverton Liquor. I don't know. What do you name a liquor store at the end of the day? My favorite one, there's one in Burbank. It's called Liquor. U-M. I don't know what the origin of that is. Maybe it's a last name of somebody who is, of an ethnicity that I am not sure of. It could be that. I'm hoping that it's not. I'm hoping that, and I've talked about this on previous podcasts, I'm bringing it back. It's an old favorite. I'm hoping somebody said, what do you want to name the store? Liquor. And they actually did it. That's what I'm hoping. Because if that is the origin of it, then comedy has been solved. No one will ever be funnier than that. No matter, I don't care how clever the jokes are, nothing will be funnier than that. Nothing. So, yeah, that's happening. What else can we talk about? What else can we talk about? I don't want to go back to the virus. I really don't. Although the thought that occurs to me is that if all of this happens and it ends up not being a huge pandemic like they say it is, that's going to be something. So much money being lost. Oh. And then there are people who are flying, like the deals are so great right now. There are people who are flying. And I was just reading one article where people are like, we'll risk it. We'll risk death to fly to Chicago for $10. Why not? Can I also say, by the way, that is it going to be this situation where wherever it's the 20s in a decade, it's going to be crap, like the 1920s, the crash happened in 29? I mean, is it no matter what, whenever there's a 20s, the whole world just goes nuts? What is it about the 20s? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. But the important thing is we have to maintain our sense of humor, I suppose. We have to maintain our sense of humor in these trying times. But then, now the thought occurs to me, now I feel to go on and feel guilty. I'm being so cavalier about it. But there could be, I think only 9 people are listening to this, but there could be people listening who actually have the virus and are suffering. And to them, I say, oh, God, I'm sorry. You know, I don't mean to diminish what you are going through. And then I'm thinking, well, what can I do to actually alleviate the suffering? And the thought is, keep talking about the video games. Like the other one I want to talk about is Sega. I can't imagine Sega, the people at Sega, specifically Sonic the Hedgehog, is just sitting there looking at Mario going, I'm so much better than you. My graphics are better. The levels are better. I am superior to you in every way. And yet, everyone likes you more. Everyone loves Mario. Starring Mario, and then Sonic the Hedgehog is the depressed older brother. Although technically he'd be the younger brother because I think Mario came before Sonic. But you get the point. All right, so I'm arriving at my destination. So I got to close this set. We got to close out this set. We got to end on a big closer. What's the big closer going to be? What happened today that would warrant a big closer? Well, I gotta go back to the virus. I did have this thought about the quarantining. I'm wondering if, because especially in countries or areas where they're forcing everyone to quarantine, I wouldn't be surprised if 9 months from now there's a baby bump. There's a surge in births. Because there's nothing else to do. Like there's going to be a generation of children, and they're going to be called the coronavirus kids. I'm telling you. You heard it here first. There are children who are going to exist because of this thing. Why am I here? Because 18 years ago, when my parents would have gone to the NBA game, they did this, and here I am. So this virus is going to create life. Isn't that something? A whole new generation of people who are going to panic at the first sign of trouble. Again, we got to be careful. I can't dismiss it. It's causing a lot of problems for a lot of people. Got to be careful. Got to toe the line. I would hate for anyone to walk out of this podcast. Wouldn't that be a tragedy? All right, there it is.